So welcome to InnerSource Summit 2025. So actually, it's a very special summit for us because we are celebrating our 10 years anniversary at the foundation. At the same time, it's actually 25 years since the term InnerSource was coined by Tim O'Reilly. So yeah, we have made it this far together, and we could not have done it without the amazing community. Thank you very much. Yep. And thank you for your support. So actually, there are so many partners and supporters who are contributing to us. So Analog Devices, Bitergia, GitHub, IBM, and Microsoft, and Bosch, Comcast, Funimai, Lenstra, Mercedes-Benz, and Red Hat, and SAP. Actually, there are so many InnerSource community out there, and if you find the cases of InnerSource, actually, you can find literally everywhere around the world. And thank you for our hosts, summit host, IBM, Mitsubishi Electric, SAP. So actually, this event is 24 hours event. So we are hand over to Berlin, so SAP in Berlin, and then we will land in New York. So New York Summit will be operated by IBM. So, and also there is another summit dedicated sponsor, GitLab, Red Hat, and Birdo Solutions. Thank you very much. And a photo supporter is Nifty. So please be ready to be taken. So actually we are sharing this kind of excitement afterwards. So I'd like to here introduce about the foundation itself and why InnerSource matters right now. And then actually I will briefly touch on AI relation of InnerSource. Yep. So as I said that, actually InnerSource stories are everywhere. So they are building their InnerSource and InnerSource culture, InnerSource program offices inside the company. So from the financial sector, manufacturing sector, to cutting edge technology or maybe big tech. So actually, and then there are several Japanese companies cases available here. So please visit InnerSourceCommons.org/stories. And InnerSource community across the world is very, very exciting thing. So from Europe, America, and Japan and China. Actually, we have several guests from APAC region, from Thailand and then China. So actually, please enjoy those kind of global session as well today. So, and actually InnerSource itself is also growing and exciting. So InnerSource, the term, is captured in Gartner's hype cycle 2 years ago. And then actually Gartner's Nitish Tyagi, principal analyst, will present the current status of InnerSource today. So actually we are gaining momentum, and then also InnerSource itself is very important topic for driving AI adoption as well. So I will explain it later. So actually our first summit was conducted in 2015. Actually it was a closed, very private one. However, actually we have a very first summit in 2016, and actually this year's summit is very special because this is 24 hours format. So actually Japan is the first place for this summit. So please enjoy. Actually, you can also join the Berlin and the New York summit online as well. So please enjoy those contents as well. And then actually there is some black boxes in the right bottom corner. However, there's an InnerSource man here as well. So actually afternoon, you will see InnerSource hero in this InnerSource Summit Yokohama venue. But actually our community itself, local community, is also expanding. So starting from the Dublin community, actually we had a formed InnerSource gathering brand in 2024. So we had an event at Tokyo, Berlin, Vienna, Dublin, Shenzhen, Paris, and Sao Paulo. And then we are looking forward to the African community as well. So actually, you can join your community in Japan, of course. If you are in a different location, you can join those community as well as you can actually found your community yourself. So we are very looking forward to your contribution. And actually, recent highlight is China and Japanese community growth. So in China, it's actually last year we had a 10,000 participants level online event. It's actually hybrid event. And also last year and this year, we had an amazing Japanese community and a gathering event. We will doing gathering event next year as well. So please stay tuned. And actually, our mission is we empower developers and organizations to apply open collaboration principle in their daily work. It's not only about open source, but also for proprietary area. So we build a strong inclusive community, and also we should be a neutral hub as an InnerSource Commons. So if you are willing to take kind of inner source approach inside your company, so please join our community, and then also probably you can post something on Slack, or maybe you can join the GitHub conversation as well. Yep. So now, probably some of you have known about InnerSource, and some may not know very well about InnerSource. I'd like to explain a little bit more on InnerSource, what the InnerSource is, and why InnerSource matters. So actually 2000, as I said, Tim O'Reilly coined the term InnerSource. But since the InnerSource definition is like a helping team and companies to use open source development technique within the corporation with a cluster of key customers. So there were some community and there were some practitioner, but it's not unnamed, or maybe it was just taken as a part of open source. And then it was okay because there were not that many silos inside the organization at the time. Because actually their IT resources just existing for supporting their corporate business objectives, or maybe their core businesses. However, in 2015, Dennis Cooper, our InnerSource Commons Foundation's founder, reintroduced InnerSource. There's a why, the reason. Because actually in 2015, what happened? It was a cloud era, adoption, and every single company are trying to be a digital company by transforming themselves. So it was called digital transformation, and it resulted every company's IT resources were increased, and also they hired so many engineers inside the company, and they created so many products inside the company. So that made silos and corporate silos in the organization. So there were the reason to drive the InnerSource cultural changes, and also driving the transparent culture inside the company. Or maybe there were reason to break down the silo across the organization, because they shouldn't reinvent the wheel inside the company, or actually they need to share their corporate resources, or maybe competitive resources across the company, because they were trying to create a synergy inside the organization by co-creation. So that's the reason why InnerSource mattered at 2015. And then actually we are thinking that InnerSource itself is very important topics for AI as well. So there are 4 principles of InnerSource: openness, transparency, and prioritize mentorship, and finally voluntary code contribution. So openness and transparency is a little bit different, because openness is just open and accessible, but transparency itself is for decision making. So if your decision making is open and transparent and conducted in a transparent way, it will bring something new to your organization. probably your team or neighbor team can start contributing to your team, or maybe you can easily access to your corporate resources without any boundary. So openness, transparency, and also open source culture-based prioritized mentorship and a voluntary code contribution is very important thing. Yep. And actually the open source practices, so it's kind of broad idea, right? So it could be anything. So it could be, for instance, just contributing to other team, or just removing your configuration, a closed configuration, or maybe you're opening up your repository. However, actually we were starting to compile those practices as InnerSource patterns from 2020. So you can visit InnerSource patterns and you will find the idea what the InnerSource is and how to adopt the InnerSource methodology inside the organization. So it's all about, organizational theory thing, and also culture change, and then also decision-making processes. So it's very, I really recommend visiting this site as well. And there are so many InnerSource books available. So it's very great starting point to learn InnerSource. Yep. So this is InnerSource Summit, which is a global flagship conference. And then actually we have a gathering event in different location, as I explained. So actually we have done 3 gatherings in Tokyo, but actually in Europe regions and American region, there are different ones. So if you are traveling to Europe or maybe America or maybe other regions, and then if you are connected to InnerSource community, yeah, I'd recommend that you will join the InnerSource gathering or maybe conference as well. So, and finally, I'd like to take the moment to explain about AI and InnerSource. So coincidentally, actually, in this summit, global summit, from Tokyo, Berlin to New York, there are so many AI-related sessions available. So AI is very hot topic right now, but actually so many companies are struggling to adopt how to do that, adopt AI, and I'm considering how to do that. So I will bring 5 points here. So throughout the summit, I strongly recommend that you will try to relate those ideas to your corporate culture or processes or your corporate AI adoption. So there are 5 critical organizational challenges regarding AI adoption, especially for AI adoption in engineering. So first one is missing context crisis, and second one, information silo problem, document format chaos, standardization dilemma, and quality assurance bottleneck. Yep. So first, missing context crisis. So what does it mean? So actually, engineering team are trying to give AI so many contexts on your editor or maybe on your repositories decision making, or even in a PowerPoint or Word, Excel. But actually they are missing context why that happened and a reason that happened. And then probably your decision making has been done in a very closed area, closed channel. For instance, if you are starting a private Slack channel or maybe private Teams channel, your decision-making process was missing. But actually, it makes AI very difficult to contribute to your project as well. So those kind of AI needs history, decision-making history, because probably in 2 years or 3 years, AI will contribute to your decision-making as well. So in that way, AI will need to know about how the decision was made. So actually, InnerSource practices open up your decision-making process and make it transparent, and also brewing the transparent culture to capture information is very essential for that area. And second one is information silo problem. So this is all about accessibility. So many companies try to build their agents, right? So probably your company is also trying to build your agents for your corporate resources, for your processes. However, I see so many cases where only several objectives are covered by agent. Probably it's tiny gray piece of paper in the process. However, maybe your company's business leader will need more, they are wanting to interact more, wanting AI to interact more the processes. So in that way, accessibility matters. Because if your resource is not accessible by AI, you will always be a bottleneck of the decision making or maybe the processes. But actually, if AI can access so many information available, so AI will done autonomously more. So in that way, it's not about the configuration, but the culture and decision-making culture and accessibility based on that culture and the processes. So brewing InnerSource culture will contribute that area. And document format chaos. So especially in Asian region, we are building so many spec documentation with Excel and PowerPoint. But actually, Excel and PowerPoint is just a compilation of XML and object file, right? Like images, and it doesn't make any sense for AI. So in that way, it's better for everybody, including AI, to see or maybe build their documentation with maybe markdown format or maybe text-oriented format. In that way, probably you and we need to deal with how to build documentation and documentation culture. So some old folks or seasoned engineers try to compile their information on Excel or PowerPoint, and it's okay. So those tools are very awesome tools. However, at the same time, if you want to feed your contents to AI, you will need to consider to feed the information on probably GitHub, GitLab, and those places. And next one is standardization dilemma. So many companies claim that AI doesn't know about my source code, right? So actually, of course, that's the reason. There is a reason because AI learn how to code by reading the source code in open source. So, but actually how open source people are building their software across the world is to align with the very standard format. For instance, if you are writing Python code, maybe pip 8 is the standard code. And also if you are a Java programmer, maybe Java style guide by Google and Oracle might be the standard one. So actually, it's very hard for AI to understand the proprietary dedicated some company format, but actually it's time to align the more standardized way. So in that way, brewing open source culture and brewing open source style, open source like style, coding style guide make much more sense for AI. And then for AI collaboration, those kind of inner source collaboration and even inside the company, open source culture brewing and engineering processes and a style guide is very beneficial for AI. And finally, quality assurance bottleneck. So it's very important topics. So inner source is not about culture, it's engineering processes as well. So many people claim that, oh, AI can generate so many code, or, but actually we cannot really review that code. Because AI can generate hundreds of thousands of lines of code instantly. However, our human beings cannot review that code instantly. And it takes 1 hour or 2 hours to review just 400 lines of code sometimes. So in that way, our inner source practices is very important to assure quality of the code, because inner source is essentially sharing code inside the company and try to let them use their code inside in a very collaborative way, which means you need to be sure the tool is not reinvented, and then actually we are ready to share your source code as well. And inner source practice is very beneficial to secure your quality assured code inside the company. So quality assured code is something hard for AI to generate. So AI can generate the test code, but who write test code, right? So in that way, people need to learn how to secure your code, how to assure your code quality, and how to share that high quality code inside the company to prevent from reinvent the wheel from the AI. Yeah, probably you experienced that AI will reinvent the wheel, reinvent the source code, even inside one single simple repository. They are scattered so many same code in a different location, in a different directory. So it's very hard to review that code, and it's hard to maintain the code if once it's happened. So inner source is very great way to make sure your code is quality assured and secured. So key takeaways, InnerSource Commons is a great community, and then there's a reason why you join us. And InnerSource is the thing in AI era, and let's do it in open source way. So that's my session, and be InnerSource is my message, and I introduced several key points related to AI. So please try to relate those topics to every session, in InnerSource Summit 2025. Happy InnerSource Day. Thank you very much.